Good morning, beautiful people, smoothers, groovers. Welcome to flight 708 to, where are we going to go today? Bangkok. Currently pleasant 8 degrees Celsius. Just doing all my checks before take off, climb aboard. Hope you've got your own snacks, beverages, seatbelts and life jackets. I've got a lot to say this morning. I can't work until I say what I need to. All right, hip hip and we're away. Before I do start my vent, well, no, it's not my vent, it's my observation. A huge shout out to the GoodNunya, who was on Morbid's panel last night with Heels in the Air and the Glare, for how she conducted herself, the empathetic conversation she had with Heels, pretty much showing how it's done, but also giving many of us an opportunity to hear some more about this Heels in the Air. What's the word? Saga is minimalising it, but hey, yep, so what? Good to see you. Heels in the Air essentially being exposed for being racist. But there's a lot of people that are calling it out that have just made their minds up and they're not open to actually having adult conversations, discussions, listening to what she's saying. And that doesn't mean you automatically agree with it. But there are many of us that would like to actually hear an adult conversation. Hey, Kylie. Hi, Miss Kay. Hi, Miss Lee. How you doing? Well, I always want to call you Leah because I have a friend who spells Leah that way. But then I also have a friend who has a surname spelled that way and they pronounce Lee. But I like to be fully informed. I need to hear everything to make up my mind when I'm working. And that spills out into my real life too. And I'm a big fan of people being given an opportunity to discuss these things. And when someone is reasonable and giving, who has made up his mind, ignored so much of what was being said, and when people were pointing it out, he was telling them that he hated them. But the GoodNunya explained that irrespective of whether Hills's blog is now private or not, there's a link on Burnt Toast channel that people can click on, and there it is, the whole blog. But Will was like a dog with a bone and just kept going on and on and on about Hills making it private. Now, Hills had also explained, I think 3 times, that pages are starting to disappear from the blog malware on the site, and that's another reason that she did it. Now, I mean, everyone would be screaming their heads off at her for deleting pages. But let's get to the core of the issue and have a conversation. And thank fuck the GoodNunya got up on the panel, because of all of them up there, if anyone, in my opinion, has a right to be fucked off about this, yet she showed more empathy than anyone else. Morbid was trying to play devil's advocate. that wasn't a bad idea either. The problem with Morbid is that people don't, um, people just jump to criticising straight away. And also he gets caught up in shit that's going on. But he was actually doing a pretty good job at trying to play advocate. But fortunately, the good and suddenly it was really interesting. It was really interesting to hear her asking Hills in the air the questions that so many of us have, and to be able to listen to the responses and then make our minds up based on that. But she kept being heckled by the glarer, and it was just fucking disappointing. Look at all you beautiful people catching up in the chat and giving each other love on a Monday morning. But I just find it very ironic that this empathetic, well, I'm going to say it, he had no fucking empathy at all. Madelirium, hello. Like, just being really shouty, calling someone, and I'm going to say all of these words because they were said, I'm quoting him, but getting red in the face, right up, yelling at your bloody camera, foaming at the mouth, and calling people, or calling Hills, a retard and a cunt. How does anything change when that's your approach? Like, when you're really angry with somebody, if you do actually engage with empathy and let them speak and hear their point of view, like I said, it doesn't mean you have to agree with them, but at least listen to them. So many people on YouTube listen for an opportunity to jump in and hear their own voice again. Not that many people on YouTube listen to hear. Baruka's salty salt. How are you, Groover? Kylie. Okay, so in a nutshell, Heels in the Air was a clip channel who became very popular and spoke out against racists on YouTube like Bullhorn Betty. I mean, she spoke out on many issues, but that was one of them. She used to be a member of Web Sleuths back in the day before YouTube and true crime, whatever it is now, because it's fucking nothing like it used to be. She's been into true crime for about 30 years. On Web Sleuths was covering a lot of cases. I think she said many times that she started with John Benet Ramsey. Wrote a blog, and I have to admit I haven't read the entire blog, but it seems from comments in chat that it's anywhere from, well, I think she said 3, but other people are saying more like 6 different crimes are discussed on the blog, and as it turns out, 5 of them are crimes with black victims and not all black perpetrators. One crime against a white girl, and she wrote this blog. She had, from what it sounds like, there were particular characters involved in some of these cases that she had issues with, and I mean, it sounds like she was pretty bolshy and spoke out on things that a lot of other true crime people disagree on. But there's a lot of comments in there that are pretty dodgy, to say the least, and she's been accused of being racist. Her response is not great. She isn't very good on even on her own channel. Apparently she went solo yesterday and it was abominable. But last night I was driving home from a beautiful lunch with friends and I noticed Morbid was live and he had the glare up and they were discussing it, and the next thing you know, he was in the airs up there, and Morbid tried to play devil's advocate, devil's avocado. Will just can't stand her, and that was pretty obvious, so he just resorted to name calling and yelling. And you could see that Morbid was trying to be devil's avocado, but Will was getting really pissed off by that too, and just wanted Morbid to gang up with him basically, and essentially call Hills a cunt as well. But then the GoodNunya gets up there, and she, a person of colour, engaged with empathy and asked questions, and Hills responded, and Will kept interrupting and heckling, and it was a fucking mess. But it was the closest that I've seen. I mean, I'm not following it so religiously. I'm watching every channel discussing it. Like, I don't go anywhere near the Hive, for example, for sources of information and opinions and stuff. But it was the first opportunity for, I think, people that wanted to hear Hills discussing it, and it just got absolutely derailed because Will was really fired up and red in the face and salivating and suddenly drinking a shitload of strong coffee and suddenly slurring a lot less. And then the scientific skeptic got brought up, and right from the start was having a crack at Morbid about not understanding racism. And I'm thinking, well, mate, if you actually knew Morbid's family history, I'd bet my left fucking tit who's experienced way more racism than any white people on the panel have. Cement shoes. But my little vent this morning is not about the ins and outs of it. There's mountains of channels that have covered it. What I wanted to talk about is, how do we move forward as a society in the real world, or as a community on YouTube, without frank and honest and open discussions, you know, like. And again, I just find it really ironic that Will has started pushing and has the hashtag engage with empathy. Practice what you preach, mate. You can be empathetic even though you're disgusted with someone's behaviour. In fact, it's a really good quality, and it's something I really like in human beings when they are. How many times have we looked at true crime cases where Fluffy Minx Pondu, hello, see, your name always brightens my day. How many true crime cases have we discussed and looked at in our lives when we're interested in this genre, where parents have had the strength and the empathy to forgive the person who killed their child? Or their, you know, I mean, when I say child, it might be a teenage victim or even an adult, but. And people are always like, oh, there's no way I'd forgive them. And that's like, well, that's because you don't have any empathy. But isn't it like I find it a really attractive quality in a person when they're able to do that. I'd have handmade dolls and stuff. G'day. Fluffy Minx Pondu. It has been a while. I'd have handmade dolls. Are you well? So yeah, the actual, and the thing is, I mean, there's no point in me rehashing sort of the full story because, like I said, there's plenty of channels covering it, but there's also not enough of each side anyway. Like the GoodNunya had a really, really pleasant conversation with Hills, and it was so refreshing. And I want to hear every side, all three of them at least. You know, like what do they say? There's his story, her story, and then there's the truth. But there's usually even more versions. But this live is more about how we can improve as individuals, but also how our YouTube communities and how society generally improves when people are given an opportunity to be heard. And the GoodNunya was really good. Like, she should be a fucking TV interviewer. Because even if she has all of this anger boiling inside of her because of what Hills has done, she was calm, she was concise, she sought clarification. And Hills is a difficult person to interview. And unfortunately, it sounds like Diane from Diane's channel and this air of, I don't know, arrogance. A blank slate? Where have you been? I've been replaying some stuff and listening to people, and occasionally I hear them saying, hi, blank slate. And I'm like, where's she been? She hanging out with everybody else. But I know time zones. Will compared Hills to a German man with a tiny mustache on his drunken members only. He did a drunken members only. Compared her to Hitler? Wow. Wow. There he is, engaging with empathy again. Can't even imagine wanting to. It was bad. It was actually. I wanted to listen to the GoodNunya asking Hills questions. I was hoping that that Skep, the scientific skeptic, would have also, because he'd already called her out. Like she knew it. Like she said, he's really unhappy with me when he was invited. Well, when they started asking about, well, Galera had told Morbid to put him up on the panel. She was expecting to get reamed. And she didn't rage quit. I don't blame people, whatever's going on a panel. If you're just getting piled on by one person and it's the same subject over and over and over for over an hour, not the same subject, the same point, which his point was put the blog back up. And the GoodNunya is saying, the Galera Burnt Toast has a link to the blog and everyone can read it. It doesn't matter what's happening with the actual original website. It's out there. Like, you can read the whole thing. And he just wouldn't stop going on about it. And the chat were getting pretty annoyed with it. And his level of rage over it, even when, okay, don't listen to Hills' explanation. That could be a load of bullshit or not. But when you've got the GoodNunya up there going, dude, it's on Burnt Toast's channel, the link to it, and Hills can't delete that. And even Hills said that it's out there. And everyone under the sun has screenshot the fuck out of it. And he ignored everything. He didn't even engage with empathy with the GoodNunya. Like, it was fucked up, man. And I have to engage with empathy in my job, so this is my get it out of my system, and when I get to the other end, the car park, when I can actually read chat, we'll discuss. Exactly, Miss K. Making noise doesn't fix anything. I mean, there's no point in trying to get the Glare to change his mind. He's not going to, and that's his right. He doesn't have to. But when you're throwing a tantrum like a bloody baby and repeatedly telling Heels to unprivate her blog, now whether or not pages are being deleted due to malware, I mean, I don't know how you even look into that or prove that. But say it is true, it doesn't matter because there's another link that Burnt Toast has shared with everybody that has the entire blog there. And Will just didn't listen, and I get it. He wasn't going to listen to Hills. He just wanted to call her a cunt repeatedly. And earlier in the live, called her a retard. Like, I mean, seriously? This isn't an adult conversation. It was absolutely batshit. But thank you to the GoodNunya for being able to have a reasonable, rational conversation with Heels. And fortunately, before it all turned to shit, some things were said that just shed more light on the issue. And I also appreciate Morbid trying to play devil's avocado because I think that's a really important thing to do when you've got someone on your panel like the Galera and many of the people that are being very vocal about the Hill stuff that have just made up their mind and they're not open to hearing all the different points of view. Like, I think having a devil's avocado is really important in this sort of situation. It may not change anyone's minds, but at least we're all given as much information as possible to make up our own minds. And it's just disappointing to have a creator who is hashtagging engage with empathy not capable of doing that very thing. M. Faithful, I saw you arrive. Those of you who don't know about these drive therapies, I basically vent. I speak my mind, I get to the car park at work, I put my makeup on and we discuss, and then I go into my workplace to be a public defender and engage with empathy with my clients for the day because I have trouble getting things out of my brain on my own, and you guys provide a great platform for me to do this and process it because I don't have anyone in my life I can say, do you mind if I just talk to you about some batshit stuff I've been seeing on YouTube? They just look at me like, huh? What? What are you speaking about? God, this coffee I made is strong. It's probably as strong as... I want to know what coffee the Glare to sober up so quickly. It was a Christmas miracle. Never seen anybody sober up that quickly. It was certainly entertaining. I mean, I'm not going to lie, I live for this shit. And then I'm like, holy fuck, we're back. I mean, Life Perplexed started streaming it, but I think she missed all the good shit. The good shit had already happened. The really, and when I say good shit, I mean bad shit, but good shit to watch, listen to. It was fucking chaos. But yeah, the hero of that panel, without a doubt, the GoodNunya. And I could have I wanted to listen to the GoodNunya and Hills, just the two of them talking about it, because I learned so much more that I didn't know, because most of the people covering it are just rigid in their opinion. And I mean, I was a bloody criminal defence lawyer for a long time, and you've got to hear everyone's story and then put it all together. You've got to speak to every witness. You've got to be fully informed, just like the prosecution have to be fully informed before they proceed with the matter. And it bugs me because these channels are all like, Will said something like, I am speaking on behalf of the true crime community. Please don't. Please don't, because you weren't listening to anything, and that's the number one thing that you need to do when you're covering crimes. I'm not a fan of someone speaking on behalf Geez, sorry I keep disappearing. I don't know why I'm approaching, it's not a big city, but I'm approaching the capital city of the island I live on, and there's a fucking great big stick on top of the mountain up there on Mount Wellington. We call it the Summer Fun Stick. I don't know why, but that's what it's called. It has all of the mobile phone networks and everything beaming out across the island. I'm nearly fucking under it. But yeah, if you're able to stick with me till I get into the car park in about, I don't know, 10 minutes, we can have a really good chat. In fact, I might even be able to read chat if the traffic is crawly, crawly. School holidays are over, so the traffic's heavy again. Is that my lovely Scout? Sunny and I had a very big conversation this morning about why I have to go to work, and it was all about so I could buy her treats. She's a little Velcro cat at the moment. She knows when I'm getting ready for work, and she's just like, oh, no. And I'm like, I know. I don't want to go either. But bless her, she went and curled up on my bed. She was having a little snooze when I left. She was happy. Yeah, there's definitely spots where reception drops in and out. I mean, I'm on an island heading towards Antarctica. It's amazing. I'm amazed by technology. I can even go live from my home on YouTube, let alone this. But it just hasn't dropped out in the usual spots. Like they're new. You missed your favourite causeway, Scout. So yeah, let's engage with empathy. Let's give people a chance. And thank you to the GoodNunya for doing that. Unfortunately, Hills has a manner about her and a tone in her voice, aka Diane's channel, that isn't overly endearing. But I wanted to hear her responses to the GoodNunya, and it was nice to actually hear more about it because, like I was saying before, most of the channels that are covering it are just really firm in their opinion and they're not budging at all, and that just isn't, it doesn't bode well with me. That's not how we evolve as human beings. Like, listen to hear. Don't listen for when someone stops talking so you can jump in and call them a cunt again. Listening to other people's sides of the story helps you make a decision on how you feel about something and someone. Doesn't mean you have to automatically agree with them or like them, but I wanted to get to the core of it. I wanted to see I want to know what Hills's motive was, and then contemplate that while reading the blog again and see if it fits. And she's not good on her own channel just doing a monologue that ends up being a soliloquy because people stop listening. And I've noticed that's a bit of a problem on YouTube too, is that, like, even when we were talking about harsh reality the other day, speaking about Annie Elise 10 to Life, putting photos of Adrian Jones behind a paywall, like, he wasn't eloquently explaining what he was trying to say. And I mean, I got the point, but Hills is the same. Like, they're not very good at just stating something clearly. And yeah, she sounded arrogant, absolutely engaging with Will, but he was being a fuckwit, and she didn't lose her shit once. While he called her everything under the sun, I mean, you got to respect that. She didn't raise her voice. She didn't name call. And she was dismissive of him because he was being a fuckwit. And yet with the GoodNunya, who has way more reasons to be fucked off with Heels, was cordial, polite, asked really good questions. Heels was very open in her responses. It was fucking refreshing. And that's the shit that should be happening in the community when people are being called out about stuff, rather than everyone just sinking their heels in. Sorry, pardon the pun, but sinking their heels in and not budging. Let people speak. Engage with empathy. It doesn't mean you have to change your mind. But it's boring just listening to shitloads of people all going, Heels is a cunt, Heels is a cunt, Heels is a cunt. And they all claim to be true crime, where you've got to look at every side of a story. It's the most important thing you have to do. Is consider all of the evidence. True crime, my fucking ass. I don't know that the most basic principle. Consider all of the evidence. Unbelievable. Just calling somebody a cunt over and over and over again doesn't fix anything. Just makes you look like a cunt. There, I said it. He was an angry cunt. I'm sorry, but he was. And he's not a good angry person. Like, it's just one of those people that would just stand right in front of you and get right in your face and just scream at you. I'm not a fan of that kind of a person, if that's their style of arguing. I mean, I'm not really a fan of arguing either. I'm too bloody passive. I prefer conversations, even heated debates over just fucking screaming matches. And there'll be people going, he's just really passionate about it. If you're passionate about it, then you, in my opinion, need to listen to every side of the story. To me, that's the definition of being passionate about something. He's not passionate, he's rigid. He's made up his mind. And I don't care if ultimately whatever mind he's made up ends up being exactly the same after he's looked at the bigger picture. But I have way more respect for someone who does that than someone who's just rigid and verbally abusive and fucking angry and not open to listening to a word that they are saying. It's not a very attractive quality. I am now in the car park. Where did everybody go? I had a good crowd here. What happened? Did all the Glera supporters roll in and they're like, oh no, she's not a fan? Well, I mean, I'm not. After that, I mean, I never have been, but what I'm not a fan of is hashtagging engage with empathy all over your channel and not actually practicing what you preach. That's what I have an issue with. Cement shoes, you're here. Hello. Just have to straighten my car a tiny bit. I can't handle being on a slightly unstraight angle. Bugs me. Godspiller 1432. Godspiller, I like your name. I'm always impressed when I come across a channel who can do a reactionary video to something extremely repulsive and stay calm. Yeah, I agree. It's insanely attractive to me. And being able to engage in empathy when you have incredibly strong feelings of disgust and hatred about something shows that you're a reasonable, open-minded person. And it doesn't mean you have to change your mind. Parents of kids who are murdered, who are capable of forgiving the person who murdered their kids, are a classic example. And ironically, this is supposed to be the true crime community, and we see it all the time. And you often see people in chat going, I don't know how they're able to forgive them. Like, people are amazed that parents are able to do that. Or, you know, it's not always parents. I mean, kids who've had their parents murdered, whatever. But they're able to do it because they have empathy. And they're also making decisions that will help them moving forward. They don't want to be boiling over with rage for the rest of their lives. It doesn't do them any good, and it doesn't honour the victims either in their mind. They want to remember whoever they've lost and remember them fondly and think of all the good times, and you can't do that when you have like all those beautiful happy memories. When you've got anger and rage at the forefront of your mind the whole time, you can't do that. Like being able to forgive is a way people are able to move on and honour the ones they love that they lost. And that's because they've got empathy that they're able to do that. I don't think he puts up a compelling argument when he doesn't like something. He gets attacking personally and forceful and tries to hold the floor. Yeah, it was really bad, but very telling as well. And that's the thing. If people have made up their mind on this subject, then that's fine. They can do that. The GoodNunya was able to engage Hills and ask some really good questions to try to get her head around all of this. It was such a fascinating live. It really was. There was so much going on. And I even appreciated Morbid trying to be devil's avocado in it. And I enjoyed seeing how much that pissed Will off. He was just being such a yelly, shouty, angry pig. Oh, do you do that now too? Yeah, I've always been very open on my channel that in the past, especially back when he was Critical K's little sidekick, I discovered that if I put the glare on when I'm doing housework, I clean it in record time, especially the toilet. Because I just get so fired up and I'd be heckling him, and the next thing I knew, the house was sparkling. Back in the day, I'd put Silverchair on. These days, the glare is how you get your house clean in under 40 seconds. But last night's live, I mean, I was cooking while I was listening to it, and I was doing everything from cheering on the GoodNunya. I was cheering on Morbid because I'm a fan of Devil's Avocado. You guys all know that. I love playing it too. I was horrified at some of the stuff. I wasn't surprised at some of it. I kept saying to Heels, like, find the words, answer this, just and be accountable. Like, come on. But also, I respected that she didn't lose her shit, despite the fact she had someone screaming at her, calling her a retard and a cunt repeatedly. I mean, I have to respect that. She stood her fucking ground. And whether it's just pure narcissism and arrogance, I don't know, but I still respected it. Many people would have just said, oh, go fuck yourself. I first came across the glare on Lady Spookaria, who's an Australian lady who reads scary stories. He used to be on so many panels. I mean, he built his channel from panel hopping. He taught everyone on YouTube a lesson, which is if you're prepared to take a link and jump up on any fucking panel imaginable, your channel will grow. That's just not something I can do, though. Like, that just is way too uncomfortable for me. And I don't have the time either. But, yeah, I mean, if people want to take a leaf out of the Glare's book, take that one, because that one was, we all watched it happen. They forgive for their soul to be free, not for the killer. Yeah, you need to let go of the anger. And beautifully worded. They forgive for their soul to be free. It's emotional intelligence to be calm, to get your point angle across. I thought he was another creepy pasta guy. I didn't know he was in true crime. Well, he's in a genre of true crime. So, I mean, he's really the drama, the crama, which I can't stand that word, but he's in the crama crowd, really. I don't think he's really covered any cases for a long time because he's sort of, I mean, he might have, apologies if he has, but he's sort of, his channel really started to take off when he weighed in on all the drama. Me too, Scout. We do like being around the empaths for sure. Oh, he's been back for a while, Scout. Godspiller is a cool name. Will is the glarer. Oh, look at all the love going on in the comments. It's so true. Out of how many dollars? 1 minute you're on the highway, then downtown, it's like my town, blinking. Absolutely. Hobart, population just over 250,000. The whole island's got just over 500,000 people on it. Got a lot of space. I don't watch him, but I watch him across other people's channels. He used to be on other people's panels. He just used to infuriate me. Yeah, me too. Oh, listen today while cleaning the house. That guy makes my ass itch. Yeah, there's a few channels who, well, Laura was streaming it live, but she missed the good shit. The good shit happened before she started streaming. I hope someone's clipped some of it. I did try to clip a little bit of it. The problem is that my messenger was flaring up like crazy last night for a lot of issues, nothing to do with YouTube. Just some stuff that's going on with some friends and even in my family. And, you know, that it's Facebook Messenger and they're all actual names of people that I love. But I need to have a look at it and see if I can at least find a few little snippets that I got. But also, I hadn't screen recorded anything on my phone for a long time, and I think I thought things were saving and I was closing them before they had. So I don't know. I've definitely got quite a few clips. I had a look in DU Recorder this morning, and I played one of them. And yeah, unfortunately, the messenger notifications were just popping up at the top and showing the names of, like, the real names of people I love. There's no way I'm going to use any of that, but there might be some moments I can crop out. But it was absolutely full on. And so from when Laura started streaming it, I mean, she did still get some good stuff, but I don't think she even got the bit when the GoodNunya was chatting to Heels. And I think I saw a notification that Wendy V might have clipped some of that. But that's the rational, reasonable, let's just talk this out part of that live. Like, if you want the glare going off, I don't know if anyone clipped it or not. But it was pretty full on. I mean, I had YouTube playing on my TV, and he was leaning right into the camera and screaming and salivating, and I often put it on my telly, but you can't. Oh, I can't work out how to get live chat up on my screen. And also, I can't, if I wanted to make a comment or something, I don't have the setup. I don't know whether you've got to get like a Bluetooth keyboard or how you do that, but it's a pretty new telly and I don't know what I'm doing really. But yeah, he was fully leaning into his camera and just like really red-faced and angry and spitting a lot and saying cunt a lot. But it would certainly be good to listen to do some housework. Although you'd probably end up, actually, I don't know, you'd probably end up not listening, not doing much housework because you'd want to be stopping it and going, did they just say that too? My God. Like, it was old school shit show, train wreck, YouTube drama, that's for sure. Someone's reviewing right now. Who's reviewing it? Because you can certainly recommend everyone goes there. I mean, I'm going to end this live, well, in about 15, 20 minutes, but hey, Jamin. If his goal was just to be nasty, then I question his intent and sincerity and his passion. But I might be jaded with my perspective. Well, he's rigid, so he's not interested in listening to any other and, you know, he's obviously fucked off with Heels. And I'm not saying he should listen to, well, sorry, I am saying he should listen to Heels, but he's not going to because he was just going over and over and over again, yelling at her to unprivate the blog. And you've got the GoodNunya up there saying, dude, chill. Burnt Toast, who the Glera cannot rate highly enough, she's saying Burnt Toast has the link. And even Hills mentioned it. I didn't even know the website, but it's some sort of website where I guess online blogs are available forever, essentially. And again, I don't know whether Hills was bullshitting or not when she was talking about pages are being taken down due to malware on the site. But if she is speaking the truth and that's happening, then if she unprivates it, people are going to go live for the next month talking about how she's deleting pages. But the GoodNunya said to Will, Burnt Toast has a link and everyone can go and read it. I mean, has this not been screenshot to buggery as well? Like, so many people covering it. There's so much information out there. And there's a link out there that you can click on and read the entire blog. But he just kept going on, and he was saying she was a fraud and she was a coward, and it just didn't progress. The conversation just didn't go anywhere because he was so hung up on that point, and he wasn't even listening to the GoodNunya saying, it's available, Will. Like, stop it. It was ridiculous. And when people were calling him that, he told them he hated them. I mean, even his mod who was in there was fucking getting frustrated with him. Cherry. Yeah, we've missed a blank slate. It was a lovely, Scout. Thank you. Had a beautiful day. Yeah, time differences are hard, but it made me feel good hearing your name being mentioned in chats. Be the star. What Will did to that girl in his ex-mod was horrible. How are you, BR the star? Yeah, hey, I've got a question. Like, is that girl that's been on panels talking about this issue the same that girl? Because, yeah, I remember the that girl stuff that happened back on the day, but is it the same that girl or is there another one? Because I heard that girl who was a mod for Will, I remember her actually being up on panel, but I can't remember if it's the same voice. It was a while ago. Hey, Sandra. Okay, yeah, so yeah, Wendy V's got the GoodNunya talking to Hill. So if you want to listen to that, which was the engage with empathy component of this absolute shit show last night, Wendy V's got that bit. It's the life of the party. You have a way with words. I wondered that too. That girl is using the hive. I didn't know she was once Will's mod. Yeah, is it the same one? Let's see. You don't see Joman. Are you on top chat or all chat or whatever the fuck? Yeah, Bentos has all of the links, yes. Oh, yeah, well, I covered that. I mean, that's another subject matter entirely. She's not great, which is why that live, from all accounts, was just a fucking disaster. But that was why having the GoodNunya up on Morbid's panel and asking her some questions was really refreshing, because the GoodNunya was asking the sorts of questions to get the answers and information that Hills has not been able to. That's what I mean. Like, some of them are just so inept. They just don't verbalize what they're trying to say clearly, and it makes people even more irate. Platforms are taking down any hate content. YouTube update will no longer use another's content as your own. August the 1st. Hang on. Platforms are taking down any hate content. YouTube update will no longer use another's content as your own. Are you saying you can't do that? She did. She did a lot of research. I remember that. It is. It's lovely saying everyone, isn't it? It is the same, that girl. Okay. I'm glad I caught you live. Good to see you attracting good people here. Very happy for it. Yeah, Godspill, honestly, love this community. Really good people. Rational, open-minded, funny as fuck. And they all give a shit about each other, which I love. And everyone's opinions are different. And people are able to ask all kinds of curly questions, and we're all open to discussing it. It's lovely. There's some good shit on YouTube, and I think that some of the smaller channels have got some of the best communities. I think the downside of a channel growing is you end up with a shitload of people that just sort of potentially can tarnish your community because they start to outnumber the good people and the reasonable people and even the bad people that are funny. Like, there's so many channels that I sort of go and have a listen to, and I think about joining the chat, and then I'm just like, there's no point. Like, after I got absolutely pulverized in Zavgirl's chat and Armchair Detectives chats, and I realized that those bigger channels have just got like these angry mobs that will rip you to shreds, even if you're asking the creator, aka Zavgirl, to stop showing the face of an innocent man falsely accused of kidnapping a child. There's no point. But when your channels are smaller, you do get this really diverse, vibrant gathering of people, and it's great. That's why I love this platform. But I also think that this channel will always attract the right kind of people, because it's one of those rock up, get the vibe, and hang out with us. And the people that sort of drop in and don't like me, they're not going to stick around. So hopefully our channel, our community will continue to be. Yeah, you got little teeny weeny dinosaur arms. I'm fluent in typo. I have no community, just awful people. You've just got awful people, you poor thing. Smaller channels seem to be more. I agree, Madalarium. And we've seen how many channels have changed because they get bigger. You know, like how quickly a creator, just the changes in them. That's why I do that The Way We Were series, looking at how people started out and then how they end up. And I need to do another one of those videos, because we've seen it with so many channels getting bigger and they just turn to shit, Zavgirl. And I think a lot of them, it's the monetization aspect of it, because, you know, Zav was building her channel and she's got her loyal followers who dig tie-dye in her confused state of mind. But then she starts doing Kylie Rodney and the big bucks start rolling in, and then everything changes. Which is why this channel will never be monetized. And don't get me wrong, as much as I can't stand Voices for the Voiceless, and I haven't liked her for a very long time, she did make a really good comment in some live. It might have even been the Morbid's panel last night. She might have been in that chat, but she said you don't have to be monetized to be a tragedy pimp, which is a valid point. But when there are creators that are saying that everyone who's jumping on these bandwagons and talking about it is doing it for money, and there are channels that aren't monetized talking about it too, what's your argument for me speaking up about this shit? Because it's not about the coin. I just have an opinion and a mouth, and I use it. And I like you guys. I love you guys. I love hanging out with you all. You always make me feel like I've been catching up with family. Somebody start playing sad song. Well, no, like a, happy no song. I'm just sorting out my hair. Hang on. I washed it this morning and I didn't have time to blow dry it. So when that happens, I'll try to put it in like a little messy bun at the back of my head. But I had to get on the road and I hadn't done it properly and it looked very strange. I've got face to faces all day today, so I have to look relatively professional. I love the days where it's like no face to faces, we can just go to work in jeans. That's why I love this area of law that I work in. Like we go to work in jeans because we represent workers and it makes us relatable. So grab a couple of things that I'm going to need in the office too. May need a beanie for leaving later because it's not that warm today. And some gloves and my office keys. All right, Dad. We've got about 10 minutes. But see, like, the reason the Hive, for example, doesn't appeal to me is because they're similar. They make up their mind and then they're just like this big echo chamber all agreeing that they're all right on this. There's no progression of discussions on the Hive, or at least, I mean, to be honest, I haven't really spent that much time listening to them because I don't really enjoy them, but they seem to just make up their mind and they don't budge. They're so rigid. Imagine like having people like that in your real life around you all the time. Fucking hell, how draining. I prefer not to be seen, which is incoherent with my spamming of comments all over the You do love your chats. You write some great stuff. God, there's some good comments under the live I did about Laura wanting to do Critical K's appeal. I owe many of you a response, and it will be coming soon. A lot of you were very active yesterday when I was out and about doing, shit with friends, real life shit. And I haven't had an opportunity to respond yet, but there's some really great conversations going on in the comment section under that live. Yeah, look, even if there are nice people on the bigger channels, they get lost in all the noise. You have to be responsible for posting people who've done nothing. Chatters in big channels even donate to get their negative comment read. I think it's flatline now, Joman. I don't think she's losing any more subs, but she lost, I think, close to 10,000 maybe. I don't know. I've heard people say she had 92 subscribers. I'm pretty sure when I was alive about it, Jen Lou thought she had more like 96. Like she was getting pretty close to, but I don't know. But she's down in the 80. You rock too. You just like to be called a groover. Well, you are a groover with your little dinosaur arms. Variety is a spice of life, Scout, isn't it? I like the people that find this channel because we discuss so many different things. Like everyone sort of finds us for different reasons. Diverse. Yeah, there's a lot of brain swelling for sure out of handmade dolls. Anti-tie-dye groover. Someone's calling me. How about the 411 got the fake cease and desist letter from jail or jail groupies? I don't know who that channel is. You will always be you. Good. I knew with one channel that started out small and they started getting nutty members, changed the whole narrative to keep members. Yeah, isn't that disappointing? See, I suppose it depends on why people are on here. I just think it's a fun platform and I like the social connections. Someone just called me, so I might actually have to go just in case there's some sort of drama I need to attend to prior to going into the office. Yeah, but you read stuff and Joman and you quote people and you're educated. You're rather clumsy, so being called a groover makes you smile. You are professional, brainy, educated. Your opinions are truthful, not for views or money making things up. I'm like, thank you. That's what I mean, some of that I don't know if I'm that brainy, but thank you. Hi, Lindy Lou. Yes, can't smile without you. It is 84.5. Oh, I don't know what that was. I think I'm really far behind in chat. It was really nice that you popped in though, Blank Slate, because like I said, even just hearing other people um, acknowledging you in the chat was like, good, she's still around. So I'm stoked that you dropped in. Thank you, everyone, for dropping in. I am going to just see what this call is about. There's a bit of stuff going on in my personal life that is sad, and so I don't want to miss a call if there's someone that needs me before I start work. But guys, thank you so much. I don't know if she was that close. I know, isn't it gold? I don't know if you've seen my live on it, Blank Slate, but I lose it. I get the uncontrollable giggles. But thanks everyone for hanging out. I really, really appreciate it. And yeah, if you're going to engage with empathy, take a leaf out of the GoodNunya's book, because she actually is. Unlike the Clara who continues to hashtag it and showed absolutely none in that absolute train wreck of a live last night. And I'll see what I clipped because, yeah, I might do a little short video called Engage with Empathy and show some examples of the Clara not engaging with empathy. And that's a great note to end on. Thank you for everyone popping in. Thanks for the lurkers. Have a great day, everyone. Happy Monday to all of us who are now in Monday. And for those of you with your weekends winding up, enjoy the rest of it too. Much love. And in the meantime, don't get struck by a smooth criminal.